Muy buenas, bienvenida a Seville. Welcome to Seville and welcome to Euro 2022. After 3 years since last we met in Munich, after 4 postponements, aren't you just thrilled to be back here together in person? And I know you're all hugely excited at the prospect of seeing old friends and meeting new friends. But I know you guys, and I know that deep down inside also there's another sentiment that prevails, and that is a sense of gratitude. Gratitude. I get very excited. Gratitude. And you know what, before we go any further, there are a few people on your behalf, and I know you'll join with me in this, in thanking. Because first of all, from the bottom of all our hearts, I'd like to thank Tad and Dom and the Euro team and the Euro board for keeping the good ship Euro afloat in very difficult times. So really, thank you from the bottom of everybody's heart. And secondly, I should like to thank the best in the business in terms of audiovisual, Minnie and the Missing Link team. Now, listen, those of you here who've been lucky enough to have had dealings with Missing Link team, you know these guys are the best audiovisual guys in the business. That we all know. They can make your pitiful PowerPoint into an Oscar-winning production. They can backlight you and take 5 kilos and 20 years off you. But you know what happened? These guys went to London Gatwick Airport on Monday morning for a 5 o'clock in the morning flight. They went through security and the flight was cancelled at that point. They somehow managed to find a camper van. They managed to get the documentation. They managed to get themselves on the Eurostar. They managed to drive 24 hours non-stop through France and Spain to come here to put this setup to be ready today. I think that's heroic. And the third thank you is a thank you to our hotel, to the Mia Sevilla Hotel, Hospitality has been badly impacted, and everybody is coming out of lethargy, of lockdown, of difficulties. We feel as if the world has been put in cotton wool. So thank you to them for accommodating our 4 postponements and making us feel so welcome here in this hotel. So those are my thank yous. And now I see a lot of old friends here, but I know that there are some newcomers to this organization. So please, can you stand up, all those people who are here for the first time to a Euro conference? Well, my friends, you have made the best personal and professional decision of your lives. Because in 3-4 days, you are going to communicate with the giants of the industry who are so generous in their support and help. Even in my eye line here, I see a posse of past presidents. Stand up, Ursa, and stand up, Patrick. I think Andrew may be in the... Who else? At the back. You are standing on the shoulders of giants. Susanna here as well. You are learning from the very best, and they give with generosity, with no concept of hoarding, with total generosity of spirit. You are so lucky to be here, so thanks for making the effort. Which reminds me now, because it's been a long time since last we met, that we really ought to go through what Euro stands for, because in a world that's really in the throes of volatility and change and chaos, it's good to keep those anchors of what the values underpinning this great organization really are. So we look at Euro, a useful mnemonic for all of us here. What is a brand? A brand is really an amalgam of all those effables and ineffables, tangibles and intangibles, hard skills and soft skills, which taken together create recognition and thereby create value. And if we look at the E of Euro, you will find emotional intelligence and empathy in this organization like you've never seen before. I know a lot of people, when I first came across this industry, a lot of people, especially in the relo wing of the business, had come from the caring professions. And that is something that I think stands out in everything you do. Empathy, emotional intelligence. One of the enduring values which hallmarks this great organization of yours. You, a hard skill, understanding. You have got experts here in everything, from abstruse immigration legislation to inshoring versus offshoring versus just-in-time versus everything you want to know about the complex issues facing the global mobility industry. R is for reliability and responsiveness. You've seen with everybody in this industry how you have responded to challenges you would never have contemplated 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And A, adaptability, that ability to roll with the punches. Euro, soft skills, hard skills. Those are the skills that you represent, and those are the skills that will never change whatever happens in this highly volatile world of ours. Right then, that's our brand, that's our thank yous. Now let's have a look at the overarching themes that we're going to be discussing over the next few days. Reset, revive, thrive. I gave this some thought, because the whole world now is in the process of resetting after a pandemic and now a war in Ukraine. And by the way, we have people here from the Ukraine and have been impacted this. Who's here from the Ukraine? Please stand, and can we give you a standing ovation? Reset, revive, thrive. The whole world is in the process of resetting after the pandemic. Now, the extraordinary thing is that this is the first time in living memory that this has happened to the whole world. It's probably happened to you individually. You know, sometimes when you're tired of a relationship, it no longer nourishes you or nurtures you, or a job that no longer nurtures you or nourishes you, or an environment that no longer helps you flourish. And we've all felt the individual need to what I call repot. Now, let me give you an idea of what repotting means, because it's a concept perhaps not familiar to those of you who are not gardeners. Once upon a time, when I would say in deep middle age, this is about 5 years ago, some would even say in the springtime of my senility. And it was just that my life was a bit of a mess, failed relationship, the work I was doing wasn't particularly enthusing me anymore. And I turned on the television to wait for the news, and there happened to be a gardening program on the television, one of those gardening gurus. And he was going around his wonderful garden, and at one point he saw this bedraggled, sort of sickly plant in a pot. And he yanked the pot away from the plant, and you could see that the plant's roots were going round and round and round in a ball, all interwoven tightly together. And he said, this plant is pot-bound. This is what happens to the roots of a plant when the environment in which it is situated no longer has the nourishment to help it flourish and thrive. This plant needs to be repotted. Otherwise, it will wither and die. And I looked at that bedraggled, withered plant, and I thought, I need to be repotted. And this has happened to all of you. I mean, hasn't it? A relationship, an environment, a job, a situation, you need to be repotted. For me, it took me all the way to Stanford, that's another story, to California. I've just written a book about it, Repotting Your Life. So reset, revive, thrive is the journey of repotting. And this is the journey that you individually, your businesses, our society, and the global economy is now on. So you know how I love my mnemonics. So let's have a look, first of all, at the R of repotting. R is for reframe. It's a great Californian expression, reframe. Reframe means that whatever happens to you, you just decide how you're going to look at it. The difference between being a victim and being an agent in your own destiny is deciding how you elect to deal with what happens to you. And we're going to be hearing about this later on from our keynote speaker. But a fantastic reframe that happened, and again, they don't give themselves any marks for it, but I'm going to do it. A fantastic and extraordinary reframe that's happened within this organization is yet again Tad and Dom. Not only did they close down the office during lockdown, thereby saving the organization large sums of money, and place it in their own home, they themselves personally took a massive financial sacrifice, again, to keep the good ship Euro afloat. That is the kind of reframe that I'm talking about. And each and every one, I want a round of applause for that, because I don't think that's widely known. I don't think that's widely known. And reframing is the way that we take agency of what happens to us. It doesn't matter what happens to you, it's how you elect to deal with it. It's that space between being an agent in your own destiny and being a victim. Reframe. Another R I'd like to have a look at is the concept of recognition. Euro and its sister organizations in Canada and the United States of America, and you'll be hearing about this later on Friday, have been very busy with governments trying to tell some of these clowns who run our countries what this industry is worth, what it does to generate the global economy's money, because they don't understand that. It must be trillions. I don't know what's bigger than trillions. It must be trillions. There was some management consultant guru once upon a time. I don't like the word guru. It's usually sort of self-applied by people too stupid to spell the word charlatan, but I think it might have been, it was one of those McKinsey bods or whatever, who said, what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. I have this kind of feeling, you know, that what doesn't get monetized doesn't get recognized. This industry is not recognized properly by governments, and we're working on that with lobbying groups, paying professional lobbyists to get our voice heard at the highest echelons. But also I know that over lockdown, you've been having an awful lot of fantastic training. And this has been given absolutely pro bono, free, gratis, and for nothing. And maybe that has to be revisited in the future. I think you'll be hearing about that later. What doesn't get monetized doesn't get recognized. So that's the R of repotting. E. Well, what about E? E is for expectations. We've all had expectations in the past, haven't we? We've all had plans, we've all had, you know, hopes, dreams, and they've all been shattered by the pandemic. You're going to hear a story that broke my heart on Friday about somebody who's just lost a business in Moscow that he spent 26 years building. That's the end of his business, that's the end of the dream, that's the end of the plan he had. So let's just acknowledge these sentiments, expectations and dashed expectations and brutally upset expectations. But those who can deal with dashed expectations in the theatre of war, you know, those people who can roll with the punches, those are the people who are going to survive and thrive. And that we're going to have a look at over the next couple of days. A shout also for something that I was researching into for the last couple of years, life expectancy. Because, as you probably know, life expectancy nowadays is, for a baby born today, probably 100, whereas in 1900, the baby born in the 1900s would probably only have 70 years to live. So we've had 30 years of extended life expectancy, which is going to have an incredible impact on the world of work, the blended teams that you will be dealing with, and the kind of packages, perhaps, that you will be asked to wrap around people in blended teams. I think there is a huge business opportunity for those of you who are interested in that kind of thing, for wellness, well-being packages to be wrapped around people who either by election or by necessity are forced to work longer. We're going to have a completely new world of work when we reach this brave new world to which we're navigating, of blended teams, of people oscillating in and out of work, in and out of personal and professional development, and those are the kind of end clients that you will be called upon to deal with. The other E I want to talk about, and this is even more important, is engagement, the engagement culture. And here I want to just get a little bit controversial, so understand me. Until, I would say, the latter half of the 20th century, there was a model that ruled the roost. And the model that ruled the roost was the macho culture. And I'm not talking about individuals here, I'm talking about a model. I'm talking about a paradigm, the macho paradigm. And what was the macho paradigm that ruled the roost? And these were the businesses you used to deal with, probably still do in certain circumstances. Well, the M in macho was for kind of militaristic. There was sort of an organigram, there was a structure, and somebody at the top gave the orders, and somebody at the bottom, more junior, took the orders and carried them out without demur. It was that kind of a business. It was militaristic. Orders given, orders taken. The A in macho was aggressive. Somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. You read the sort of management consultant stuff from those days, and it's all about the theatre of war, battles, winning, aggressive. You win, I lose. I win, you lose, zero-sum game. And the C in macho was a sort of a command and control culture. I give orders, you do what I say, Either I beat you around the head if you don't do it, or I give you a carrot and stick. That was the kind of culture we were dealing with. The macho culture, H, was also a hoarding culture. I've spent 20 years learning this. I'm not going to share it with you. I'll stay in my silo and I'll keep this intel, this information to myself. Oh, it was an old boy network. It was the old school tie. It's out of date. As we move gradually now, teetering into the 21st century, I put it to you that the people you'll be dealing with, the clients you'll be dealing with, the end client you'll be dealing with will be a completely different animal, working in a completely different model. And the engagement model that I want to advocate or talk about and will be discussed over the next few days is the model that I prefer to call the women's model. It is a model, it is a paradigm, it is not an individual. But think about the women's model, the W in women. It's not by chance, you know, that in Latin and Greek mythology, the deities representing wisdom are always feminine. Pallas Minerva, Athena, Pallas Minerva. And why is that? Because basically, the macho model was interested in data, facts. But if you spend a lot of time in Europe, you will realize that data is not facts, and facts are not information, and information is not intelligence, and intelligence is not knowledge, and knowledge is not wisdom. When you come to Europe and you stand on the shoulders of giants and you imbibe the communal wisdom, that is the pure joy of being in a community. This is the new model. O in women is for openness. Again, openness, curiosity. How should we do this? New ways of doing things. Not bossing and bullying, but asking and listening. The M in women is for multicultural, diverse, inclusive, call it what you will. The kind of culture that embraces everybody. Inclusivity is the policy, diversity is the outcome. The E is for empathy, and the N is for networking. Those are the key attributes of the women's culture: networking, sharing, openness, curiosity. R-E. The P, and we're all having a good look at this now, is for purpose. When I was in Stanford, there was a concept. It was called the jar of life. Minnie, have we got a slide of the jar of life? Now, this is very interesting, and you can actually do the experiment yourself. If you were in a Montessori school, you would be doing it. But if you imagine your life as a jar, think of this. Because what's happening now increasingly, and I think you'll all find this, everybody I've spoken to has found this, that during the pandemic, something happened to all of us, and all of a sudden, whereas in normal life, the urgent always takes over from the important, during the pandemic, the important started to take over from the urgent. Now, this concept of the jar of life, which I love, is imagine your life as a jar. And into this jar, you have to put rocks, you have to put pebbles, and you have to put sand. So you have to have a look at the rocks in your life, the pebbles in your life, and the sand. Now, what are the rocks in your life? The rocks in your life, it depends on each and every one of you. They won't be the same. And even for individuals, it will change over your lifespan. For me, for example, the rocks at the moment in my deep middle age would be family, friends, relationships. Pebbles would be probably a bit of work occasionally. And the sand would be the nice kind of things to have, going to the theatre, going to the opera, going to the cinema, or whatever. If you put the rocks in first, then you put the pebbles in, then you put the sand in, you will fill your jar of life to the top. If you try it the other way, and you put the sand in first, then the pebbles in, you will find that the rocks no longer fit into your jar. So this is the reframe that we've all been doing during the pandemic. We've possibly been doing it for ourselves, And I would urge you now, over the next few days, to think about it for your business. How are you going to organize your life and your business now so that the rocks and the pebbles and the sand are put in the correct order, and that the important now takes precedence over the urgent? REPO. I've talked about openness and open networks. This is an organization of total generosity of spirit. You ask anybody a question here, even a competitor, they will give you the answer. Possibly not the correct answer, but... And it's that openness, that open network, that makes this place tick. And the final element of my repot mnemonic is the T. The T is for technology. What would we have done without the affordances of modern technology during the lockdown? What would we have done without video conferencing, without Zoom? What would we have done without the ability to work from home with the technology? But that's a small element of what the avalanche that's coming down the road, predicated on technology, is going to mean for the world of work and the people for whom you work. Technology, artificial intelligence, cloud computing. What does this mean for supply chain management? What does it mean onshoring versus offshoring, just in case rather than just in time? I don't even know. These are open questions we must have a good look at over the next couple of days. And the final T is for talent. Because your mission in life, your vocation in life, has been to match the talent with the task. You have moved people around the world in order to match the talent with the task. And it's well recognized in the literature that those organizations who are capable of moving top talent to high-value initiatives are the organizations that will have the competitive advantage in the future. You will be dealing with those people. But right now, your big task is to help those organizations, those individuals, those clients overcome the personal and the psychological barriers to moving. Because let's acknowledge that issue. Things are not as easy as we think. This is the city where Christopher Columbus actually is buried, if you go and have a look at his tomb in the cathedral. And this is actually where the expedition for the New World was put together and set off from the Old World. We are in what I would call, or the psychologists call, a liminal state. What was true in Munich 3 years ago is no longer true. The world has changed beyond recognition. We can't go back to the old ways. But neither have we reached the shores of the New World yet. We're like Christopher Columbus, hoping that there's a new world out there, but still battling in heavy weather with difficult waters and bad winds. We're still battling. So our job is to help the clients overcome the psychological barriers to moving around the world. And we will do that as an organization and with all the help we can get from those lobbyists who must speak to government about freeing up immigration legislation. You know, when I was on my journey, my repotting journey, it's frightening. It's frightening when you're in that liminal state because stress and anxiety are part and parcel of the package. But I remember when I arrived at Stanford, and truly I was in my mid-60s at that stage, and it was daunting, it was frightening. There you are at the Graduate School of Business at Stanford University, the most ferocious university in the world, you know, citadel of startups, epicenter of Silicon Valley, dragon's den of disruption, and you think, what on earth am I doing here? And it was at that point that I saw a tiny little plaque, and on it, tiny little plaque, not one of the major ones you get in the big square there, a tiny little plaque from one of the early deans of the Graduate School of Business at Stanford, and it read, repotting. That's how you get new bloom. You should have a plan of accomplishment, and when that is achieved, you should be willing to start off again. My Euro friends, we are all repotting. You are being called upon to repot your lives, repot your business, and in doing that, help the whole world reset, revive, and thrive. Thank you. Now, I did say that we have got now a completely new world of work. Because of the affordances of modern technology, it's become increasingly easy to operate in a hybrid fashion, to work at home if you wish, in the comfort of your own home and the comfort of your own pajama bottoms. So, given that this is a possibility nowadays with the affordances of video conferencing and Zoom, we thought that our next speakers should be allowed to do precisely that. So, Minnie, have you called up the call? Can you call up the call, please, Minnie? Where are they? Ah, there they are.
Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for this catch-up with Tidey, Zurlinden, the CEO of Euro, and Michele, Bramstoft, our fantastic president. Hello, I can see people are coming in. Hello, Elena. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Patrick and Yvonne. Hi, Jacqueline. Hello, Rohit. Hello, Klaus. I will just ask you, so tell me, Tad, how are you? Where are you?
Well, Dom, I'm in my usual place down the corridor in my office.
Excellent, I can hear you. And Michele, how are you and where are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing great. I'm sitting in my office in Copenhagen, downtown Copenhagen.
Thank you so much for being here today. As I said, I will say what I always say when we begin these sessions, which is it would be so much better to be in a conference room, in a five-star hotel somewhere lovely. But until we can do that, we have the wonders of Zoom.
Oh, Minnie, they're frozen. What are we going to do? Should we default to the old-fashioned methods? Should we have them in person? Your president, your CEO, and your COO, Michele, Tad, and Dom.
Good morning, everybody. We thought a little bit of cheesy nonsense would be a bit appropriate. First of all, I've got to say, for the last 2 years, we've used the hashtag Euro will be together again. We need to change that to the hashtag Euro is together again. So we're just going to do a very quick catch up on what's been going on. First of all, Tad.
I just need to
Open, yeah, these are, okay. Collective clicking of the cans. Yeah, we'll be having words. So, Tad.
They're responding in kind.
Okay. To lift up your thing, I think it's
Not working.
Is that better?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so, welcome, here we are. How many delays?
Delays. Well, actually, Francis, I'm very, very sorry. It was postponed 5 times. So this is actually Seville 5.0 in technical terms.
Which is unreal. So, Tad, tell us briefly how Euro is doing.
Euro is doing fine, primarily because of you lot.
Absolutely. Thanks to the members.
You have been amazing. You've paid your subscriptions. You've agreed to rollover after rollover after rollover, and you have been fantastic. And we're here now, which is even more fantastic. So we're in pretty good health.
I think a really, really big round of applause to the amazing loyalty of the Euro members. Thank you, everybody. And to those of you who are here for the first time, I hope this begins your journey with Euro as loyal followers. We're so pleased that you're here. So, Michele, I'd like you to tell me about our amazing executive group, please.
I would
what
love
they've
to
been up
tell-
to.
I would love to tell you about our amazing executive group, who I would love if they would stand up, please. We have, there they are, and we have a slide for their names as well. Irena, Alistair.
So I would just like to say, I cannot tell you how much your support over the last 2 years has meant to us. You have been our rock. You have supported us in the lowest and darkest of days with your enthusiasm and your absolute commitment to Euro going forward. So again, another big round of applause. We're all going to have very sore hands.
We have some unprecedented happenings on the Euro board. And so suddenly, with the landscape of mergers and acquisitions, we suddenly have 3 people from the same company on the board. So after this conference, our lovely Vice President, Susanna Byrne, and Pierre Geronimo will step down. And there will be elections held in December. You'll hear more about that. We'll push it out later on. But if you feel like running, you please put your name forward or suggest someone. There's one other new thing that we're going to vote. We're going to have an extraordinary general meeting in September, because we've decided that we need a global representative on the board, on the Euro Executive Board. And since we have like about 29-30% of our members are global, we thought it would be a good idea. So more on that to come later.
Absolutely, watch your bulletins. And again, from all of us and from the rest of the board, I know we all feel the same in saying, Susanna, thank you for all the contributions that you've made. And Pierre, we're going to miss your humor and your wit. We are really going to miss you so much. And Susanna, thank you for everything you've done for this conference. You have been our translator and ambassador. Thank you, guys.
And Susanna hasn't quite finished
No,
yet.
there's still quite a lot. Sorry, Susanna, if you do. Anyway, moving forward, Tad. So lockdown, the first lockdown hit all over the world.
Yes.
We were all rabbits in the headlights. Nobody had any clue about what to do. What did we do?
Well, we sat down and we talked about it, the two of us, and we said, well, you know, what can we do? And I think the first thing we said to ourselves, well, there's our training program. Why don't we look, because certain countries were being affected at certain times to begin with. And we thought, well, why don't we just offer to those countries where they're effectively in lockdown? Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Absolutely, but we're going to come back to that. But what I was really aiming at was that the very first thing, because obviously the very first thing we did was the board came here to Seville and they cancelled this event.
Oh, yes.
Then we had the joy of the designing of the first Euro virtual conference, which we called the Not in Seville Get Together. What was that about?
God. Well, you know, doing a virtual conference is just as complicated, if not more complicated, than doing an in-person conference. First of all, you've got to figure out how you're going to actually deliver it. But of course, thanks to Minnie, we found a way of doing these things. And then after that, you then got the joy of sitting through the conference at your own desk.
And not even the pleasure of a beer afterwards.
No,
Was it?
well,
Sorry.
not even the pleasure of a beer afterwards with someone other than the person down the corridor.
Corridor. But I think what was amazing about those virtual conferences, and we did 3 of them, the support that we had from our sponsors and the support we had from our speakers and the moderators, it really was incredible. The work that goes into those virtual conferences behind the scenes is extraordinary. I know all of you who took part, the calls, the endless calls, the making sure it was right, the hoping the tech would work on the day. So, you know, we'll still continue doing briefings, interviews.
Yes, and of course, is where you came in.
Yeah, that I learned to edit. Thanks to Minnie. How do I drop somebody out of like this piece of film and then put someone else in? That was a steep old learning curve, but there we go.
You started by interviewing people all over the world and
Shout
talking
out.
to them. And I think
Yeah.
the thing about that was that people were sitting at home in their country and going, well, this is what's happening to me. And I must be the only, as usual, I must be the only person in the world this is happening to. And then you suddenly start seeing the same thing happening across the world in different places. And it was like a big curtain that went across. and eventually enveloped us all.
And again, thank you to everyone who took part in those interviews. I think at the beginning of this, it kept everyone so neatly together, and it gave us all the kind of, the sense that there was a shared experience that we were going through. So that was
And
fantastic.
may I just add
Please.
that you became the most wonderful interviewer ever. And he's so smooth and
Job I never
supportive.
thought I'd have, but then we all had to repot.
Yes,
Thank you, Francis.
yes, we did. And you did a great job.
So Tidey, do you want to look at the training?
Oh, sorry, yes.
We made the training,
made the training free.
Yeah.
We started off with countries which were affected to begin
That's
with.
right. Yeah.
And then we pushed it across the world, and eventually everyone could do the training for free. And it was actually remarkable. So many people started trainings, and instead of just doing the training and not doing the test because the test was free, they did the test. I calculated that we effectively gave away in tests, which were only 50 euros each, 125,000 euros worth of tests. But if we were selling those very same modules to non-members, we would have been giving away 625,000 euros worth,
It was great.
which is amazing.
But again, talking about the technology and being able to sort of use things that were new, we were so lucky that the Academy had gone online literally 6 months before.
Absolutely.
So, that was great that we were able to do that. Michele, we have a new initiative for people who maybe find the training more expensive in other areas than others. Would you like to talk about that?
I would like to talk about that. We have a very special person that left us recently, and we have decided unanimously on the board that it would be a nice way to honor Michele. And there'll be more to come. We haven't quite figured out everything, but there'll be a scholarship fund for the Euro members to take advantage of.
Thank you, Michele. I know. She had the most incredible commitment to professionalism and training right from the beginning of her journey with Euro, which was the beginning of our journey with Euro. And
Yeah, she's been
we
there.
are proud to be able to do this in her memory.
Yeah.
Tad,
Yes.
would you like to talk about money? There's going to be a little bit.
I always like to talk about money.
We are going to make some changes to the Academy. The board had a very, very long discussion about this a couple of weeks ago.
We feel that we would like to ask members not just to pay 50 euros for the test, but to make a voluntary contribution of 50 euros to actually taking each module, which will, of course, be compulsory from the start. So, in effect, we are doubling the cost from 50 to 100 euros, but we feel that COVID has shown the added value that the Academy offers. And also, in order for the Academy to continue to develop new modules and use professionals to make new modules, we need to create an extra income for that particular project.
We do. We want to make sure that the Academy continues to be relevant. We have some amazing trainers, many of whom are in this room. I'm looking at several people, and we've been so grateful for your contributions. But to be able to keep the Academy really in the spirit of what we want it to be. But that's not happening until January. So there is plenty of time, people. Yeah.
But also in the spirit of being able to measure, it's just value add. It's recognition for the industry that
Yes. Thank you. Recognition. Recognition.
Still on my agenda.
Fantastic. And in the spirit of the Academy, there are two people that we would like to congratulate today. If you're in the room, could you come up? We'd love to shake your hand and make you publicly aware. Ria, Nima, are you with us?
Ria?
Come up to the front.
Come on up. Come on down.
I know you were both actually seriously busy during lockdown, but at the same time you managed to make the time to do your MIM fellowships, and I really just want to congratulate you. I'm really sorry, but we've left your scrolls in the office, so I'll just give you a hug instead. Ria, thank you so much for all you did, and they're like all the other fellowship case studies, they're available on the Euro website. They're absolutely fascinating to read. Mima's was so good that when it was being graded, it actually had to be run through the plagiarism algorithm at Oxford Brookes University. And Ria's was so good it's been published. So congratulations to you both. Thank you so much. So one level of professional thing in Eura. Tad, talk about the Eura Global Quality Seal and how that was impacted during the pandemic.
Well, of course, you couldn't exactly have auditors rushing around Europe auditing companies. So fortunately, our auditors managed to react very quickly and make the whole thing hybrid and via Zoom, via whatever they could do. And so that was made it relatively easy to do recertifications. And during the COVID period, around 30 companies recertified, which is incredible. But there were also 4 companies that actually got the quality seal for the first time during the COVID period. And I asked Marie to give me a list. And ironically, the first company that came up was ABEA from the Ukraine, who actually did that quality seal. The others were Brighter Expats in Belgium, Coptalis, Move France, Link Mobility, and Clipper Relocation in the UK. So well done to all those companies.
And even more complex to do during lockdown, so well done. So thanks very much to the MIM Fellows. We were delighted to be able to honour you. We have one more honour we would like to make. Patrick Oman, would you join me on stage, please? Ladies and gentlemen, past President Patrick Oman.
Thank you very much. Now, the honour that I'm about to confer is the award. I had to write this down. It's the award for outstanding contribution to relocation. And when I got the award 4 years ago, it was in the middle of the dinner when we were all celebrating, drinking champagne, having a great time. And when I was told that we would be having the award at this time of day, today, I was a little bit surprised, but I think it's entirely appropriate that we should make the award while we're busy recognizing people and thanking people. And I'd like to add my thanks and recognition. And if I had another half dozen or a dozen awards, I'd give them to Tad and Dom on the board. And the board, in deciding who gets the award, I'd say they have to think long and hard. And this time they went right back to the mists of time when Eura began and chose one of the founding members of Eura. Actually, it's somebody who not only was a founder member of Eura, but hasn't missed a conference in all of the years since. I think that's a pretty worthwhile achievement, outstanding in fact. And made an outstanding contribution at the very beginning by being one of the first presidents, and I'm very proud to have followed in her shoes. I followed in her shoes in more ways than one, actually, because she invented relocation in Ireland, so by now she knows who she is. I'm delighted to present the award this year to Francine O'Byrne.
Is she here? I don't know.
Oh, that's you.
Is Francine here? Oh, well done. Francine, come on up. Francine was one of our first presidents, and do you know that ever since she's been honorary treasurer of Eura? and kept an eye on Tad, kept an eye on the funds, and made sure that it's all tickety-boo as the years went along. Well done, Francine. You're the best. No, let me give you this. There you go. It's my pleasure and honour, and thank you again. You're never short of a few words.
Will you hold that for me then?
You go ahead.
This is a wonderful surprise. I wonder why I'd have been asked as a guest. Now I know. Eura has been part of my life since I initially set up relocation in Dublin many years ago. And Patrick and I have always been great pals and sharing ideas and things. He did call to my office many times with proposals, but I turned him down. But I think, you know, we're all here due to two very special people. The first person I met was Tad. I got the idea of starting relocation 30 years ago, and I was visiting a cousin in England, and they said, oh, there's somebody doing relocation in England, and he found out the name and Tad, and I remember going into a public phone box and ringing Tad before we'd mobile phones and asking, could we meet? And at that stage, it was ARP, or ARA at the stage.
Yeah.
So we've come a long, long way from there.
Yeah.
And at the time I was on the council, the proposal was to form Eura, which was the greatest thing that ever happened in this industry.
Yes.
So I think that's enough. Well done. Congratulations. And it's a great honour to accept this award. Thank you.
Well done, Francine. Oh, you can bring it home, yeah, straight away. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Patrick, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Come, oh, yes. Yeah, thank you, Tad. That's a good point. Tad, I don't think that's all.
No. No. Well, there is somebody else to whom we wish to present this award. Again, somebody who has been with Eura for many, many years. I had a most amusing meeting with her at the formation of another association, which was SARA in Switzerland. There was a moment when someone walked in, looked at me and said, what are you doing here? You're not Swiss. At which point I pulled out my Swiss passport and said, yes, I am. Anyway, that's an aside. This particular lady has worked with us on trainings and helped us to develop most of the early modules in the MIM, and she's been a great supporter throughout the years, and I am absolutely delighted to invite Anne-Claude Lambelet to come up here to receive the other award. I gotcha. We can do that now. Would you like to say something?
I'd like to say something, yes. First of all, a big thank you to you. I mean, if you didn't exist, we'd have to invent you, and it would be difficult. Then I'd like to make 3 wishes for everyone in this room. I try to live my life and work my life that way. First one is do everything you do with passion. If you're not in this industry for passion, get out of it. First thing. Second thing, try and see things with a child's eye, because you know children, they always say why. And I think we need to question what we've achieved in order to move forward. Again, second thing. Or even better, see everything in the eyes of a stranger, because after all, that's your client. And if you don't see things the way your clients see things, you may be in trouble. The third thing is a thirst for knowledge. And I guess if you're already at this Congress, the thirst for knowledge you have. So to all, have a great Congress, and really, this is a wonderful industry. Go for it.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Right. I'll just put that down.
How lovely. I'm so thrilled to honour, as I say, working with these two individuals has been a huge pleasure.
And we
for
got
us all.
about another 10 of those to give.
Yeah, no, that's it. Michele,
Yes.
we are here, Seville, 2022. We started off this conference with the theme Reputation, Recognition, Revelation. We are now Reset, Revive, Thrive. Can you tell us about the programme?
I certainly can.
Stats.
Yeah, there are a lot of stats here. So many sponsors that we've never had as many sponsors as we have this time. So thank you very much for your loyalty and support, because of course we couldn't be such a great association without support and these wonderful men. We have 26 sessions. 6 of those speakers, 26 sessions, yes, 84 speakers. 6 of the speakers are going to be on stage in Ignite. Just a little plug for Ignite at 2:30 on Friday. Please come. We have 3 fabulous parties that I hope we will see you at tonight, tomorrow night, and Friday night. We have, can you guess how many attendees are here? Any guesses? 702. And, yeah, and on Friday, we've changed one of the sessions to call it Survive. And that is because...
We had a long conversation about this in the board, and much as we are all here to celebrate and to have a great time together, we can't ignore the fact that there is a war. And so the first session on Friday will be with our members who are most affected by the war in Ukraine. And we will be joined on Zoom by Marina on the ground in Kiev, and try and just acknowledge the fact that while we are all here celebrating, and celebrating can somehow maybe seem wrong, but what I would like to put across is the warmth, the kindness, and the fellowship of this group is what the world should be. And if we can reflect that over the next few days, then in some way we're doing our part.
Yes, excellent.
So Tad, we are fundraising for 3 organizations this year. The United Nations the United Nations Ukraine Humanitarian Relief Fund, the International Committee of the Red Cross for Ukraine, and Andex Cancer, which is the children's hospice charity in Andalusia. We always support a local charity as well. So would you like to tell people how they can donate huge sums of money, please?
How can they donate huge sums of money? Well, to begin with, the Euro board have decided to put 10,000 euros into the pot to start the ball rolling. We also have had a Just Giving page, which has been running now for a little while, to raise money specifically for Ukraine, which has now reached something like 5,500 euros. Yep. So we're starting with a pot of 15,500 euros, but we still need people to buy things from the silent auction, which before this session I went to check what had been bid so far, and we are roughly 4,000 euros. So,
wow.
Yes.
Are we really?
Yes.
Congratulations. Well done, everybody. That's brilliant. Gosh.
We have some Euro t-shirts. You know, they're really smart. I have about 15.
You do.
But we have some Euro t-shirts upstairs, which are for sale at 20 euros. In your bag, you will find the Where Next card. You will be delighted to note that it is 2 years out of date.
It was the only thing we had printed.
It was the only thing,
Yeah.
well, apart from the program, which we did at the last minute. If you complete your Where Next card and decide and guess where we might be going next year, then you can take it to the girls on the reception desk and pay your 5 euros to enter the competition, which, if you win, gives you a free place next year in,
I'll give you a clue.
Well,
About where we're going next year?
No, you will not.
No, I won't.
Because as I say to anybody who says to me, please tell me where we're going next year, I said, yes, but I'll have to kill you after.
No, it's a bit brutal.
Anyway, apart from that, for those of you who enjoy running,
We'll be there.
there's a fun run tomorrow morning.
Yes, tomorrow morning. 8
And
o'clock
to
in the lobby.
enter, you go and sign up on the desk. It's €20.
Yeah.
We also have the traditional Euro bus tour on Saturday, leaving at about 11 a.m. for 2 hours, and that is €30.
And Bryony, is that sold out yet? Still a few places. That sells out really quick. So if you want to do it, go now.
Yeah, exactly. And apart from that, of course, is the Just Giving
Just Giving
page, which is
page.
still open and will remain open for a little while longer. Our target is to be able to give the, our target is something like 25 to 30,000 euros to give to the various charities. But thank you to those of you who have supported us already.
Yes.
And go bidding. There's some very, very interesting items to purchase, including the usual Euro Tour, the jumpers.
Oh, yeah, we've got the Euro Tour rugby shirts. Very, very, very exclusive, very unique.
And even more exclusive and unique, the final pair of Euro sunglasses.
Hey, priceless.
Priceless,
people,
so
priceless.
Minimum bid, €100.
Brilliant. Okay, so Michele, I know that one of your goals for the presidency was to increase the recognition of our amazing industry, and you have a plan.
Yes, if you were in Munich, I talked about generating relocation recognition. I think we've talked about it. It's really unknown, our industry. We need to make it sexy. We need to make it well known, like, you know, the pharma industry or something. And so we're making an ebook, which will go forward in this year as well, because it's quite thin. But these are the wonderful contributors who have already contributed. The idea of the ebook is to put together stories that demonstrate our value. One story was published already in the European, and I think we'll maybe publish a few more every now and then.
Absolutely.
But just little stories, you all have stories, so little stories that demonstrate how much value we add to the relocation industry.
Sure.
So thank you. You can send them to me or to Dom.
president@euro-relocation.com.
That's it.
Again, just going back to, you know, the thanks that we have to give to our sponsors who also have been ridiculously loyal over these past years. Can we just acknowledge them once again? And don't forget to go and check out our brilliant exhibitors as well in the exhibit hall. And all that remains, I think, to be said from the three of us is we wish you the best Euro conference ever. It is so great to be here. Thank you all so much.